Over the weekend, if you weren't out doing what you should do on Waitangi Day or anywhere else, you're out at the beach and having a good time. Guy Williams became more famous than he's been for quite a while by turning up, strangely enough, at a kind of press stand-up at Waitangi and having a bit of a crack at our next guest, David Seymour. And it kind of went off-ish on social media. And I wanted to talk to David Seymour about that, but actually quite a lot of water's gone under the bridge since. So there are a variety of issues I will canvass with David Seymour, who joins us by video link from the Beehive. David, firstly, congratulations on your engagement.
Oh, well, thank you. It's very kind of you to say.
She must be mad. I mean, a sitting politician in a coalition government who gets dumped on social media by left-wing trolls all the time. She must be a brave woman.
Well, she's a very good person, and I respect her for the fact that she is a smart businesswoman with a good heart and apparently a charitable approach to dating.
Well, good on her, and I admire her courage. Let's start, and gosh, so much happened since, and we only talked last week. Firstly, the taking of your microphone. And a lot of people commented, they said, so David Seymour goes to Waitangi, not on Waitangi Day, but the day before for the right thing. And you were damned if you did and damned you don't, because you turn up there and the buggers take your microphone off you and turn their backs. Hardly a respectful engagement.
Well, I think it's important to go there because at the end of the day, our country has an important piece of history there, and we should be prepared to debate it. Unfortunately, not everyone's up for free speech and open discussion of our past and our future as a country. If someone says something they don't like, then they'll do everything they can to stop them. That's their view, but I don't choose how they behave. I only choose how I behave, and I think the message that I delivered, which is frankly, if partnership and separate rights is such a good solution, why do we have so little progress in Maori social statistics? We'd actually be better in a liberal democracy with equal rights for all. We can do things like charter schools, two of which I've opened for Maori language charter schools in the last week.
Yep.
And I actually think that's a really positive thing.
All right, Mikey Sherman, and then Mikey Sherman was outraged from TVNZ that you had your own microphone. Did you know you were going to get the microphone swiped from you, or is that standard practice now for social media and stuff that you wire yourself for sound? And by the way, as far as I know, it's not illegal.
I don't think it's illegal to wear your own microphone. Mikey certainly wears one quite a lot herself, so she's probably, it's hard to see what her objection would be. But what I do know is that the world's changing and people want to get their information. The platform is part of that changing world, actually. But if you look at, say, our YouTube, 50-odd thousand people have watched my speech now. 100,000 have watched the exchange with Guy Williams. That means that people are getting to see and make up their own mind based on what they see firsthand. And I actually think that's a really positive thing.
All right, let's move on to Guy Williams then. I mean, I can be rude in interviews, but he just said, that's bullshit, you're lying. What was he there as? Who was he there representing? Whose microphone was he holding?
I actually don't know. I don't think he was part of a media outlet. I think one of the things that some people in the media are a bit upset with is that a lot of members of the public couldn't tell the difference between him and other media.
Well, we did a social media poll, David, and his lack of bias rated higher than Mikey Sherman's and Jenna Lynch. And Goebbels, on my poll, rated higher than all of them. But he was the most credible of the main. He was better than how people felt about mainstream journalists.
Well, it seems that the spin-off made a similar argument that, they thought that people commenting on the video we put up couldn't tell the difference between him and the other journalists. I actually think it's a bit unfair. If you look at some of the things he did, he basically said that I said things I haven't never said.
Yep.
And that's why he got shot down. For the most part, press gallery journalists, while there's things I disagree with the way they go about it, I don't think they're that bad.
Yeah. All right. The other thing was, and you may not be aware, he was probably there on the taxpayer's dime because he's been given $990,000 to make 6 22-minute television episodes by New Zealand On Air.
Yeah, fascinating. In my view, New Zealand On Air needs a clean up. They don't seem to be making things that are reflective of New Zealanders, that New Zealanders want to watch. I can't think of the last time I saw something funded by New Zealand On Air that I thought, man, I'm glad my taxes went to that.
Okay, so that gravy train needs to end. I also want to ask you in relation to, if you like, this idea that we have to be efficient in our spending. We started looking yesterday at an outfit called the Pakeha Project. Are you aware of the Pakeha Project?
Oh, mate, no, I'm not. Tell me about it.
The Pākehā Project is a management thing to basically train New Zealand managers and leadership people into decolonisation and how bad they are
Right.
as Pākehās. And it is funded, along with things like Inside Out, by an outfit called Foundation North. And Foundation North is
Okay.
actually a government charity. It's more than $1 billion under managed funds that was gathered together after the public stake in the Auckland Savings Bank was sold, and its board of trustees are appointed by the Minister of Finance. And I just wonder, in your drive for efficiency, how you feel about activities like the Pakeha Project, which, to be honest, is woke on speed, being essentially funded by taxpayer or government-controlled organisations.
Well, there's a couple of things there. First of all, I haven't heard of this project, but I take your description of it. It doesn't sound unusual compared to some of the stuff that's been funded in the last few years. Second of all, that money is there, as you say, from the sale of the ASB 40 years ago. It's not actually money that goes on the government's books or that taxpayers contribute to now and haven't done for several decades. Our role, as you say, is to appoint some of the board members to Foundation North. And all I can say is that as appointments come up, we appoint new people. And I can tell you...
Well,
that
Jim
when it comes up
Bolger's on it, Suzanne Snively's on the board, but it funds Inside Out. It funds some very, I would say, extremist organisations.
Yeah. What I find is that when these appointments come up, the people in our government sitting around the table go through the names, and we're looking for people that are not actually trying to subvert the values that make New Zealand a successful country. In other words, we're looking for people who believe in equal treatment for all, no discrimination, and judging people on merit rather than identity. And as time goes on, you'll see more and more boards with people like that, and less boards like we've had over the last 5 years. I can understand people's frustration, but if you look at the options we have, if we go and basically start just sacking people en masse, that creates real instability, because then the other side of politics can do it.
It'd be useful, I guess, if the Prime Minister made a general statement about what he expects in terms of wokeness in the country, but he seems loath to do that.